5 minutes as we have some people that are still coming in, but just wanted to let everyone know that we will be starting momentarily, probably in about 3 to 4 minutes. Thank you very much. Hi, everybody. I see we have some people that are still joining. We'll get started in probably about 3 minutes as the rest people join in. Thank you. Hi, everyone. We'll be starting in approximately 2 minutes.
Hi everyone, my name is Alex Backer and I am the Sales and Marketing Coordinator at LTech. I'd like to thank you all for joining the LTech webinar, on Google Apps for real estate. Today we will hear from Jason Etter, an account executive at LTech, Tim Juilliard, the Vice President of Information Technology at RE/MAX, and Travis Irby, Territory Manager at Google. Our webinar will feature an overview of the benefits of Google Apps, a live real estate-specific demo, a testimony from Tim, a current LTech customer and Google user, and finally, we will conclude with a question and answer session. I'll start off providing a bit of background about LTech. LTech is based in Bridgewater, New Jersey, but we have representatives in California, Detroit, Massachusetts, New York, and North Carolina. We have been Google Enterprise Partner for over 6 years and have migrated over 750,000 users to Google Apps. In addition to Google Apps, we also deploy Google products such as Postini, Google Search Appliance, and Google App Engine deployment. LTech is a team of certified Google Apps deployment specialists and change management specialists that have created a unique deployment methodology. It is their skill and dedication that allows us to help real estate agencies like yours successfully become one with the cloud. Now I'll hand the presentation over to Jason.
Thanks, Alex, and thanks everybody for joining. As Alex mentioned, what I'm going to do is just go through a couple of quick slides and then get into the fun part, which is the demonstration, and then the reason why you're all here, which is Tim. So I like to start at this page primarily because it's probably very familiar to you. Whenever you have a question, you need to find a movie ticket somewhere, or you just want to ask any type of question, really, you Google it, right? It's become sort of the known appliance for any type of question you have, regardless of what the content is. So what I think Google Apps has done is actually taken that Google it factor and placed the it in front of Google, giving your business the greatest search engine in the world built into your mail, into your calendaring, into your communication, and also into your document storage, file creation, spreadsheets, anything of that nature, all accessible anytime, anywhere, from any device, with any team, just like you would with Google Search. So a lot of real estate offices that I've spoken to, they used to have this mentality right here that this was an office, correct? So if Tony over here needed to talk to Margie, Tony would go over to Margie's office or a little cubicle area and ask a question, and vice versa. Well, that's not realistic, correct? This is really the office that you're working in. Or perhaps if you have a different vertical, this is the office that you're dealing with. And from your office, you're communicating with your clients and prospective customers from your car on your mobile phone, or perhaps at an open house and going over a form or spreadsheet or proposal and trying to figure out the best way to take the next step. Or maybe you're working from home and you want to access your customer clientele and see how that's going and trying to follow up with your leads. In addition to that, you have a certain expectation with with addition to your devices, third-party applications such as Top Producer, which is a very well-known application that actually synchronizes really well with Google Apps for your lead generation. And you also have DocuSign, being able to send and receive proposals, sign them electronically from your device, and able to communicate that way. MailChimp, sending mass email campaigns with some beautiful graphics that you're able to communicate that way from. And even HelloFax, which is fairly new to the Google Apps platform, but allows you to fax directly from your inbox and save and receive those messages without actually having to have a fax machine. So what is Google Apps? Well, it encompasses all of this. This is the core of the app suite, right? So you have Gmail, which allows you 25 gigabytes of storage space, right? Google Drive, which allows you to store any file type and view over, I think there's over 40 different types of file types you're able to view. You can also edit, create, which is the key right there. You can create text documents. You can create spreadsheets, create forms, create different, any type of graphical, maybe like a diagram of some nature, you're able to do that, but then tie that in with some of the third-party applications I spoke of earlier, and they all work together in one ecosystem. Calendar, you're able to create and share easy calendars and make them more visible to the outside world if you want to make your open houses public, or perhaps if you wanted to have a team within your real estate office that you're able to just share internally different events that are going on. Or just manage your own calendar, including your personal calendar too. And all that can be synced up and integrated with your mobile devices and your computer. You log in and you have that information in front of you. Google Sites, which I'm also going to highlight as well, which allows you to create a public-facing website or an intranet if you want to store documents and files of such nature for projects and different things that you are resources, and use forms and such as well. Google Plus is allows you to have a social network within your organization, also allows you to reach out and express some public-facing knowledge base as well, and also allows you to have video conferencing with up to 12 people, or hold a hangout on air, which is something that would actually allow you to, reach out to the world and communicate that sense. In Google Talk, which is something that allows you to make phone calls, start video conferences, and chat, communicate between mobile devices and computers seamlessly, all integrated within Google Apps for Business. And then I highlight Chrome. I like Chrome. I think Chrome is one of the fastest and most innovative web browsers out there. But in addition, what's nice about Google Apps is you don't have to use Google Chrome in order for it to work. You can use Firefox, Safari, Internet Explorer, even Opera, whatever you'd like. You're able to operate and function with Google Apps for Business, and that's really what Google Apps is all about, and I'm going to show you more. So here's some of the customers that LTech has worked with Google Apps for Business. As you can see here, there's 5 million businesses in strong that are going right now. And these are Google Apps for Business customers, not just your basic @gmail.com customer, but real businesses. In addition to that, we're averaging about 5,000 businesses a day are signing up. So this isn't something that's new, that's uncharted territories. This is a movement, and part of this movement is allowing you to be excited about it, because it is. It's giving you the opportunity to take these applications, the suite that Google has provided, and allow you to do things you never thought were accessible as they are now. So if you stay put, right, you're probably dealing with a lot of IT issues. You've sort of become a de facto IT person, even if you're not. Unfortunately, there's a lot of time you're spent on your information technology in your office is spent fixing problems rather than enhancing your experience. And you're spending a lot of money. Either you have an on-premise IT person who's, for all those dollars you're allocating to that person, is likely just spending on making sure the server is up and running, or making sure people have mail, when instead you can be working on, enhancing the applications you have in front of you and making it a better, more productive experience. You might be dealing with unsupported systems. Some people might bring in their Mac, some people might bring in their PC, some have iPhones, Windows phones, Android devices, and the issue is when these phones all come together, they really can't communicate very well. You are chained to the devices that you've grown up with, and it's difficult to make an upgrade because you're unaware of what different new software is going to be available to you, and making that change and taking that stuff is kind of scary, because you're not sure if by simply upgrading, are you now not able to communicate correctly with your spreadsheet or documents to your colleagues because they have not upgraded, things of that nature. And then, as I mentioned earlier, you have applications like Top Producer and other types of lead generation applications that are out there, or mailing systems that are in place that it doesn't really communicate very well with other operating systems. In addition to that, sometimes the information technology in-house is actually older than the people you're hiring to actually use your IT. So, for example, a guy fresh out of college comes in and finds out that you guys are operating on an earlier version of Exchange that he didn't even know existed. And so those types of challenges do come up. And where LTech comes in, so let's say you do decide to go Google. What we actually do is we're an entire organization of certified deployment specialists, certified sales specialists, and what we want to do is take you from point A to point Z. And that includes everything. LTech is we like to consider ourselves a boutique shop of Google Apps for Business. So in addition to actually giving you and providing you Google Apps for Business licenses, we want to provide with you change management, training, allowing you to get your information, that precious data that is currently on your system, and move it up to Google Apps for Business, and make that transition as quickly and smoothly and painless as possible. And that's exactly what our team is designed to do, and that's why we're considered a premier partner, because it's what we live and breathe and do best. And I mentioned training and I mentioned change management, but I want to say it again because it's very important. There is a lot of fear that goes in at times when change is occurring. We would like to pride ourselves in delivering this message of going Google to your organization, and not actually having them being fearful of it, but excited and energized about taking this next step. So why pay for something, right? There are times when you're dealing with, with real estate especially, a lot of your agents are subcontractors, right? So they might have their own email system already, and maybe you only have a couple staffed in-house, that your administrative staff that are actually on an Exchange server or Lotus Notes or something of that nature, and all of your agents they have their own system, and it's up to them. Well, I like to emphasize going Google for your entire organization, which includes your agents, because of, well, first of all, you have brand recognition. It's something that's really necessary. You don't want to be sending across proposals. You don't want your agents to be sending proposals for $400,000, $500,000 with an @Yahoo, @AOL, @gmail.com address. You also want that universal accessibility. Whether someone has a MacBook, a PC, a Windows Phone, a BlackBerry, an Android, and I forget, there's so many devices out there. Regardless, they all have access to Google Apps for Business. And so they don't have to upgrade their device or change their device just because you decided that, hey, we're going to give you Google Apps for Business. In addition to that, they still have that freedom of their identity. So maybe they do have a Gmail account or a Yahoo address or their own domain even that they've been using for 25, 26 years, and there's no way that they're going to change their identity to your office. Well, they can still maintain that identity while using Google Apps for Business, but it gives you that secure ability to hold on to that data, right? So when there's proposals going around, when there's documentation that needs to be transferred, when you have brochures and updated information, calendar items, things of that nature, you want to have that control. You want to be able to manage and understand and hold on to that data, but still give those agents that freedom to do what it is that they do best, right? So you need that control because, you know what, it's true. There are legal issues that come into play. You need to hold on to certain documents for, I think some in Maryland, I think you have to have a proposal and all the documentation associated with it for about 3 years, or else you could be penalized. Massachusetts, same thing. All different states and jurisdictions have different requirements for when you need to hold on to that data. And when you're relying on the agents to do that, it may not be as easy, or it may be more of a challenge when it has to be paper files. So that's why we talk about Google Apps for Business and Google Drive, where you can maintain all of that documentation in one location that you, the owner, the broker, can actually manage that data. You're also going to get 99.9% uptime, okay? So Google does not go down. That's the business, right? So if your server goes down, which unfortunately probably happens fairly regularly, or you have to plan for downtime, you have upgrades coming, patches that need to go in. That doesn't happen with Google Apps for Business. If your machine stops working, you pick up a new machine, you log in, and you're right back where you left off. In addition to, I want to also point out that you're going to get 24/7, 365 support from Google and LTech as well. And that's the decision that really helps a lot of people too, is saying we're not only going to get you into Google Apps, we're going to be there to help you out when needed. So now I'm going to jump into the actual demonstration. Okay? So what I'm going to do from here is show you what Mail looks like. So as you can see right here, I have a logo here. This could be your logo, whatever it may be, Jason's team, Coldwell, Remax, whatever you want it to be, you're able to actually have that right there. Now, as you can see right now, the way I have my mail set up, I get a lot of questions of, well, how is this going to differentiate between Outlook, or, maybe if I'm using a different client altogether like Apple Mail. Well, from my standpoint, I think this looks pretty close to it. I mean, you have your messages, you have your unread messages over here, and you're able to view it on the left-hand column. On the right-hand column is the message and the thread that's associated with it. But what Google does is actually gives you kind of an enhanced view here, because I'm able to see all the people that are involved in the thread as well, including mail messages and such that are related to that person, and I can see the other people that are actually involved in the conversation by just simply clicking on their name. And from this message, I can actually chat with them, I can start a video conference, I can email them separately, or even call them. For example, right here, here's one of my colleagues. I just highlight over his name, and it gives me all of his credentials right away. I'm able to see his email address. I can actually share information on Google Plus with him. I can start a video conference if I wanted to. I can see his contact information, recent emails, documents, things of that nature, just from one click. If I wanted to start a chat with him, I can just go, "Hey, Chris, how are you?" And instantly, I'm communicating with him, and he's writing back to me. Well, I know that a lot of the real estate offices that I work with have a bit of a language barrier. So let's say, for example, that they're located in Texas, and there's a lot of people moving into a different location. So I can go, hi, Chris, looking to move to the U.S., and it automatically translates it for me. So, and then vice versa. He writes to me, and then we're able to he can actually write to me in Spanish. It'll translate it back to English, which is really quite nice. So it's able to communicate seamlessly without even having me to go through the process of finding a translator or anything like that. Let's take that to another level, actually. So let's say, for example, that same message from Chris comes to me, and the entire email is actually in a different language. Thanks, Chris. So from here, you'll actually see it. It arrived to me in Spanish, and it looks like there's some kind of address in here. I'm a little confused. But over here, you can actually see right here, it actually recognizes that there's a language barrier. I'm going to click on Translate Message, and automatically it translates it for me. And from here, I have an incredible list of different options for languages that I want it to be viewed in, and I can just alternate between them if I'd like to. Like, for example, maybe I want to change it to French. Aha! Now I can read it much better. Great. So instead, I'm going to go to English and just highlight this message. Now, here's something really neat, right? So part of this is asking, hey, why don't we have oysters? There's a neat place in Washington, D.C. Within this message, it actually recognizes that there's two addresses. So there's actually a Washington, D.C. address and a Queens, New York address. It actually realized that both of those locations were there, and I'm actually given two maps within my message. So it actually gives me the option to view it from anywhere without having to leave my message. So let's take a look at the Washington, D.C. Location. And he mentioned he wants to have oysters. Maybe we're going to have a conference meeting with them, and I want to meet up. Okay, well, that's nice, but gee, I wish I could get a better view of the actual restaurant. Oh, look, I can. I can jump right into it and go into Washington, D.C. and take a nice, zoom into the actual restaurant and see, okay, it looks like it's a family-friendly restaurant. That's not bad, but you know what? I think Chris might be better off for this message. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to go to Chris, and I'm going to say, hey, Chris, check this out. And what I'm doing right here from this map is actually sharing directly from Google Apps from Maps into Google+. And he's going to get that. He'll also get an email notification, and from that email notification, he'll be able to go right inside the restaurant and see if it's a good place for us to meet up. Pretty nice. So in addition to that, in this message, it came with a zip file. So I used to work with a lot of different, at a different organization, and I get a lot of zip files, and it would be a little frustrating because I'd have to download the zip file, I'd have to extract it, hopefully I had the right software in place, and if I'm looking at houses and I want to find out the best houses to upload into my website, I want to make sure that I can have quick and easy access to that. So if I was given a zip file, I usually only need 2 or 3 photos from it. With Google Apps, I just click on View. It opens up a new tab. So what does this mean? I don't even have to be at my computer. I could have this accessibility from anybody's computer. And as long as I'm logged in, I'm able to view it, and I can take a look at all the different images. I can save them all directly to my Google Docs if I'd like to, or I can just go and grab the individual files. In addition, you can still do it the old-fashioned way and download it onto your desktop too if need be. Taking that a step further, what Google Apps does is, let's say I just was looking at a new house and I click, 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 and I wanted to share all these different photographs of this new location to my marketing team. Well, what I did was I put all those pictures into Google Drive and I shared the entire collection. So what this is right here, being shared from Google Drive, means no attachments. It means no 1 of 5, 2 of 5, 3 of 5, huge mail attachments, eating up all the storage space inside my inbox. I'm able to quickly just share a link, and from that link, it takes me to Google Drive and shows me all those photographs. So as you can see right now, in 2 quick steps, I just clicked on it, and now I'm viewing all these beautiful photographs that I'm able to take a look at. And so in seconds, I'm able to view all this. I didn't have to download anything. I didn't worry about bandwidth or anything of that nature, and I'm able to access it, which is really pretty slick if you ask me. So let me talk a little bit more about mail, and then I'm going to jump into Drive more. So what I can do from here actually is in my inbox, as you can see, I have it set up as important and unread up the top, starred here in the middle, and then everything else. And that's pretty nice. So that allows me to, all my important messages will be up at the top. So that means if Chris emails me or if Tim from Remax emails me, that message is going to be shot right to the top. But if I get something that's maybe a a LinkedIn message or from Tech Republic subscription based, that's going to push that down to the bottom, even though it's an unread message. I like that quite a bit. In addition, don't worry, you still have your old folder structure if you'd like to. So if you have a folder structure that you've been living with for the past 10 years, we'll migrate that and keep that folder structure and its subfolders within your mail client for you. In addition to that, you can just drag and drop those different labels over there just like you would before, and you can even grab the message and drag and drop it into your actual message, into your folder as well. Very nice, very easy. So let's actually jump into Google Drive. So Google Drive is this right here, this big red button. This is what wins it for me, okay? So from my web browser, without having to install anything, without having to have a on-premise application, which can get very expensive, I can click on Create and create a document, a presentation, a spreadsheet, a form, a drawing, anything, and even more, right? So I can actually work with DocuSign, HelloFax, all those customers I was talking about earlier directly with my Google Drive. Without having to leave Google Apps, I'm actually involved with these other applications that are very important to me. For example, if I'm in DocuSign, I can just log in with my credentials, and I just click sign in as Jason Etter, that's me, and it's going to take me over here to DocuSign, and I'm able to browse an online document, go to my Google Docs, and I can grab all those important files that I had that I might need to get signed. So maybe I have a proposal that I need my CEO to sign, or I need it to send over to a customer. I just click on it, and I click Add, and I can jump right in and send it away. Very easy in just a few clicks. In addition, now that I'm at the page, here's Top Producer. And here's the key right here, this little guy. It says Google Sync. All of my contacts and all of my calendars are completely in sync with Top Producer. So anytime I add a new customer to Top Producer, it automatically syncs up with Google Apps, and vice versa. When I add someone to my Top Producer account from my phone, it automatically syncs up from Google and also goes over to Top Producer, and I'm able to manage my contacts seamlessly. So pretty nice. This is nice. So calendar, as you can see, I just click on it, and it actually shows me what my calendar looks like. Looks like I have to check for new leads at 9:30. I better hurry up and do that. And now going back to Google Drive, I'm going to click on this little guy right here called Building Options, which is a folder. As you can see over here, we have a different folder structure right here for West. And as you can see, these are the photographs we were talking about a little bit earlier. Very easy to click and view. If I want to share maybe 4 of these photographs with my marketing team, I can easily select it and click on this button. And in just seconds, I'm able to type in any address that I want to. I can start typing Chris's name and share it, and then he gets an email notification with that link, and he'll have access to just these 4 images, which is great. I really like this quite a bit. In addition to that, we have some forms and such. If I wanted to create a form that I actually wanted to look at, this is pretty neat. If I go to the live form, I was able to create this. What do you think of this home? Would you buy it? Yes. For what's your name? Jason. Email is toddjason@toddjason.com, and my phone is 233-444-5555. And do I have any questions? Let's go Google. And then instantly, as I submit this, now I could have put this on a website, I could have put this anywhere, but as you see right here, it automatically populates that. And from the actual message, let's say I have a long list of people that are interested in houses, I can actually get a summary very quick by clicking there, and it shows me all the different responses I've been getting thus far. In addition, we're in this document. Let me jump over actually. I'll show you something even cooler. Let me jump over here to Tony. So I have my agent's file, right? So as like I own a brokerage, right? So I want all my managing directors and all of them to take a look at all the different agent folders I have. Very easy. I just click over here and I click share. And I'm able to share with any of my management all of this whole collection, all the subfolders. But let's say I only want Betty and my managers to see that. So I can actually give Betty only rights to see this folder, and then so my managers and Betty can see it. And the same thing for Mary, Susan, and Tony. So it's very simply by just clicking share, only Tony and my management team can see that folder. In addition to that, if I create something in Google Drive, it's only me that can view it. And people say, oh, well, what about like if someone logs into Google and they can see that? Well, that doesn't exist. It's just like if you were to drop something onto your desktop and people didn't know how to log into your desktop, well, there it is. You wouldn't be able to find that file. Very similarly to this, you need to have your credentials in order to view the document. I can send all of you the link to this document. You don't have access to it. It'll just give you an error page. I think that's really very nice and speaks well of how well the security works and gives you the accessibility at the same time. So let's take a look at this example charts and graphs of spreadsheets, right? So very easily, we have a destination and popularity. Based off of this little bit of information here, it actually is able to create this. I can even go a little bit further, get myself some pretty interesting charts and graphs based off of easy data, but this one really impresses me because if I was doing a presentation and let's say that my computer got run over and my presentation was gone, I wouldn't have to worry about that anymore because now everything's right here in front of me. So pulling from the data right here, it actually creates this beautiful line graph that I can actually click on and interact with and discuss and talk about in real time from my web browser. I don't have to have anything special going on, but it's able to give me this really nice graphical interface without having to really know how to do anything. I would typically need a developer in order to make this happen, but it just comes as part of the package. In addition to that, we also have a expense report and budget. So this is a normal looking spreadsheet, right? Here's the game changer though. If I click on share right here, I'm going to share it with Chris again, same guy that we were just talking to. I'm going to add a little message that says, "Hi Chris, please take a look at this." And then I'm going to share that over, and he's going to get an email notification. Now, from that email notification, he clicks on the link, and then let's say we're having our Monday morning sales meeting. Rather than he has version 1, I have version 2, and version 3 is sitting on the server, we work on one version, and that's the way Google likes to do it. So as you can see right now, Chris is actually in the document, and so as he's editing, I can be editing. So in real time, we are editing the spreadsheet, as you can see, and we're able to communicate, collaborate. We can even start a chat right here. Thanks, Chris. And we're able to communicate. I can comment on actual notes if I wanted to. I can do anything, really, that I want to, but in real time and from a web browser. I haven't opened anything else up except for my web browser. So I don't have to wait for the program to load. I don't have to worry about versioning issues. Everything is accessible right here. And that's the type of functionality that Google Apps likes to give you. In addition to that, we talked a little bit about Google Sites and how that can help you. And so take a look at this right here. This is a website, as you can see right here, created in Google, right? I don't know anything about HTML5, but if I click on Edit, I know how to type, I know how to insert and right-click and left-click, and I'm able to have a fairly nice-looking website. And guess what? Here's all the photographs that I was just showing you earlier in Google Drive. They're all right here. In addition to that, we also have the form. So right here that we were just talking about, what do you think of this home? I'm able to add and comment right away directly from this website, and I can pull that data without having to pay someone like SurveyMonkey or anything like that in order to actually have access to these documents. Very slick. And just if I wanted to create a new document, I go create, and we're up and running, and I can go, hey guys, this is great. So that's pretty much the demonstration of Google Apps for Business that I have. I'd be happy to talk with any of you further following the demonstration, maybe arrange something with your office to go a little bit further. But from now, what I'd like to do is jump back to the Google presentation we were working on earlier, and then we're going to start the probably the bread and butter of this presentation, which is I'm going to hand it over to Tim Juilliard, who's I'm really looking forward to hearing from him.
Thank you, Jason. Hopefully you can hear me okay.
Yep, hear you just fine.
Great. So hello, everyone. As Jason said, my name is Tim Juilliard, Vice President of IT for RE/MAX, our international headquarters here in Denver, Colorado. So what I want to do is spend a few minutes and talk to you about our journey to the cloud and why we made the decision to move forward with Google and some of the secrets of our success along the way. So Jason, if you go to the next slide, please. There we go. So we've been on a pretty rapid journey to the cloud, as you can see from this this slide here, really culminating with or beginning with an announcement that we made to our membership back in March of this year. At our annual convention in Las Vegas, we announced our agreement with Google and LTech to provide the Google Applications for Business platform for our brokers and agents. This was actually made before we had determined to move to that platform for the headquarters office here in Denver. After our convention, we launched a proof of concept with about 30 employees in the Denver office here to review the capabilities of Google and use it for a month in a test environment so we could really get some hands-on time and understand how it works, the good, the bad, and the ugly about it. And we came away with some very good impressions. We wanted to be thorough in our evaluation, so we also looked at a competing product from Microsoft, Office 365. We had been on a Microsoft platform as we were doing this proof of concept. We were in Exchange 2007 as a back-end email system with Outlook 2010 on our clients. So we did a month of review of the O365 product in May, and then really the first part of June, we went to our executive team with our decision, our recommendation, and seeking their approval, which they gave us at that point, the approval to move forward with Google. Jason had shown earlier a kind of a sample migration plan that LTech uses to help manage these projects, and he showed a 90-day plan, and that's really about what it took for us to get migrated over. And we went live about 3 weeks ago, not quite 3 weeks ago, on the 27th of August on Google. So if we go to the next slide, Jason, we'll talk a little bit about why we were looking to make a change and some of those drivers there. As I mentioned, we were on the Exchange 2007 environment. It had been working fine. We really had no technical issues. We knew that we needed to provide more functionality, and we wanted that. Our end users wanted that. We knew an upgrade would be in order, if not this year, next year, to the latest version. So we wanted to provide more functionality. We wanted to really provide more collaboration and really challenge the way that we use email day in and day out, and see if we can become more collaborative in what we're doing. Message archiving was a big driver for us to get control of some of our archiving requirements and our legal hold needs. I'm sure many of you deal with that as well. And the messaging and the archiving and retention capabilities within Google proved to be a very good solution there. My end users would certainly say that the second bullet was probably their main driver, and that's adding more capacity to the mailboxes. For anybody who was on the road, it was fairly common for them to call us up and say, hey, I'm on the road, I've run out of space, can I get more space? And we were dealing with that quite often, and we just did not have enough capacity to really provide our employees what they needed to do their jobs day in and day out. So that was certainly something that we needed to address. Disaster recovery is another strong driver for us. So this is a broader project where we're updating our disaster recovery plans, and really wanted to have something better in place for email. As you all know, we live and die by email, whether we like it or not, and felt that in the event of a disaster, we still need to be able to communicate with employees, and did not need to have a solution or an option where we had to restore email to an offsite facility, but would rather ensure that that's always available. And last but not least is really the annual operating costs. Reducing annual operating costs. We weren't going to sell this idea if it cost more money, and we were able to provide additional capabilities, grow the mailboxes considerably up to the 25 gig that Google provides, and address the disaster recovery requirements. We were able to accomplish all of those while lowering our annual operating costs as well. One other kind of hidden driver for myself and my team was really to gain control of the Outlook PST files. Those were running rampant throughout our environment here, and just provide more risk in terms of archiving and message management. So that was something that we wanted to accomplish. Next slide, Jason. So as I mentioned, we did a proof of concept on Google and evaluated them against Microsoft. And why did we choose Google? So at the end of the day, we put both solutions head to head, and certainly said there's no showstoppers. It meets all of our needs, both functional and technical. It's certainly a change for people that are used to Outlook and now working out of a Chrome browser or any web browser. But as Jason showed you in the demo, it's pretty intuitive and pretty easy to navigate your way around there. We felt the search capabilities were superior, and when you think of Google, you think of search, and that's really where Jason started off his discussion earlier, and that experience certainly carries over to the mail platform as well. The collaboration capabilities, as Jason showed in the demo, were really strong and really differentiating. How those are built in from day one. The entire platform is built for collaboration, and we thought that added tremendous value to the company. Ironically, we felt that the Google platform was a more integrated technical solution than what we were looking at from Microsoft. And here we were, a Microsoft messaging environment, fully licensed for Exchange and Microsoft Link and some other capabilities, but technically just felt that the Google Apps deployment would give us a much more seamless solution and require us to deploy a lot less software than the Microsoft solution. Of course, that led to a simpler technical deployment as well, which I think was a bit of an eye-opener for us, that we could get the Google migration done quicker than we thought we could with the Microsoft migration. LTech has proven to be a very strong partner for us, not only supporting our brokers and agents, but also in our migration here at the headquarters. And that's really, it's really key that you have the right partner in any kind of a cloud migration, because we're joined at the hip in this thing, and we've got a joint success there, since they're really responsible for managing a lot of the environment and a lot of the migration and support that they provide. So LTech has proven to be a strong partner for us. Why we chose Google as well is the cost will not change. So as our savings and our value will increase as we deploy more services. So that was a key driver for us, that we could pay a price and we could get a lot of value for that, and really determine how we want to deploy different pieces of the suite and the platform, but really leveraging a consistent price there. So that was great for us. The last point is probably one of the key points on this whole slide, and that's Google is built for the cloud. There is no local installation option, which is good. And the other option we were looking at had really been migrated to the cloud and was not built for the cloud or rebuilt for the cloud. So we felt that provided a lot of benefits for us, for the stability of the platform. On a technical side, upgrades are seamless and frequent. A new capability comes out, and we don't have to do anything to deploy that. So that really frees up time for my team to focus on some other things. And the pricing model, I would say, is quite simplified. When you think about cloud options, you talk to other vendors about cloud solutions, one of the key drivers is simplicity in pricing. And the Google and LTech model certainly provides that. The Microsoft model is still, in my view, somewhat convoluted and tied to kind of the legacy pricing model that Microsoft has used for years. So those are some of the reasons why we went to Google. Next slide, Jason. So this slide is really, there's probably nothing new here. This is sort of a change management 101 slide that I threw in here just to highlight the challenges and the lessons for getting to life after Outlook. And I'll be honest, there are a number of people that were scared of losing Outlook, couldn't imagine their day without Outlook, and really didn't realize some of the crazy things that they were doing with Outlook until we moved them off of it. And I'm sure you're all familiar with that. Some of our lessons for success, we're really finding our supporters and using them early. Um, a lot of times, many of the younger workers that are coming in are Google proficient. They understand it, they use it personally, and they're excited about moving to that. So, we found those people and we brought them in and made them part of the migration team. And one thing we did with people here in the office is we set a realistic expectation. So we didn't try to tell them that this is going to be the easiest transition they've ever done, that there's going to be no impact. There is a learning curve. Anytime you've used Outlook for 5 years, 10 years plus, you're used to the way it works, whether it's right or wrong. It's what you get used to, and changing that out always provides a little shock to the system, and requires some adjusting the way you do work and learning how to do similar things in a new platform. So the one thing I told our executive team and everyone in the company is I can guarantee on day one you will be able to send and receive email. You will be able to send and receive meeting requests and calendar appointments. You will be able to sync up your mobile devices to your mail and get that on your iPhone or your iPad. So, and that's really what 90% of people are doing. So on day one, we're not going to take them backwards. We're going to give them what they've got and begin to take them forward with collaboration. We leveraged a peer support network internally. So we created what we call the Google Street Team, and leveraging those supporters that we found within the business that were not IT folks, and had them be not only champions for communication and training, but support during the migration. That worked very well. We put together a communication plan with the assistance of LTech to communicate early and often, both before, during, and after the migration. And the after is probably as important as anything before there, so that we can reinforce the benefits and talk about the new capabilities that are there, and continue to provide training for our end users. The last bullet there is something that we're pretty good at here at Remax, and that's having fun with it. We made our go live day on the 27th. We turned it into a party. We had music and banners and balloons in the morning, and free coffee and donuts. And we had at lunchtime, we had a big party and had a Google Spirit Award where we had people volunteer to dress up in Google costumes and outfits, and they got quite creative. So we just made it a celebration and tried to have fun with it, so that we could not take our messaging and our change of that too seriously, and just make a good fun day out of it, and that worked quite well. So on the last slide, this is really our roadmap. So the migration to mail and calendars and contacts was not the finish line. It's really the starting point for us. And as part of that deployment that we completed just the beginning of this month, we also deployed Chrome as the standard browser for accessing Gmail. We just made the choice that we're going to advertise this as the way to get into your Google services, and not use the other browsers that are out there. They work, but we wanted to have a consistent approach and deployed Chrome for that. Jason demoed Google Drive. We are planning to roll that out in between now and the end of the year for online and offline file storage. We've got a lot of people using Dropbox. I want to eliminate Dropbox and really get Drive out there, which provides similar functionality and more, and really get some control over that environment. Google Vault is another product that's coming out for improved spam prevention and archiving and retention, etc. The Google Apps, the documents, the spreadsheets, those Microsoft Office kind of equivalents. We're going to be rolling those out. People are starting to use them now, but we will have a formal plan around that and start to look at some of the workflow that we do currently and how we can enable that within the apps natively. And then Google Plus as well. There's a lot of capabilities there, a lot of new functionalities being added all the time by Google, and that's something that we're going to look at in the early part of next year, how we can leverage that, for communication, for Hangouts, for events, etc. So Jason, I'll turn it back to you, but that's basically the story of Remax and our migration to the Google Cloud.
Tim, thank you so much for that. That was great. Really appreciate your insight. And what we're going to do now, we have about probably about 10 minutes remaining. We're going to do some questions. We do have a couple of questions already, but do feel free to, where it says questions, to send it in by chat, and we'll be keeping an eye on that if anyone has any further questions. One of the questions we got right off the bat was actually for Tim. You mentioned earlier that you were choosing between Office 365 and Google Apps, and the question is regarding what was your, I guess, biggest game changer between Office 365 and Google Apps?
I think there are a few, but the biggest game changer for us was just the simplicity of the deployment and the not having to install software locally other than the browser. So we just felt that through our evaluation, the Google Apps provided a much more integrated product and solution, and we were able to leverage that without having to do a lot of additional software installation. The other big thing was the collaboration that was built in from day one on the platform, and we felt that would really simplify the adoption by our end users, and really have them embrace that much quicker. I would also say that when it came down to the brass tacks, the cost was a big differentiator as well. The value you get for what you pay in the Google platform is significantly higher in our estimation than what you would pay for a similar O365 implementation. There is no comparison on the cost. We would have paid more on the Microsoft side, and we felt would have had a more difficult transition.
Great. Another question we got was, it mentioned that I was showing a different type of inbox during the presentation and asking if there are other more classic ways of viewing the inbox, and the answer is yes. So you can view your inbox I talked about priority inbox, which allows you to, Google will separate those messages from people like Tim or Chris and push those to the top, and then the subscription-based emails and such are less important, that you can customize yourself even, push that to the bottom. But you can still use the traditional viewing as well if you needed to do just your chronological order, unread, read, in that particular order. You can alternate for that any time, which is really nice because every end user has the opportunity to customize how Google Apps is presented to them without having to make it this is the only way you can view it, which makes it for a better learning experience for everyone. Another question, someone did ask if this is being recorded, and the answer is yes. And we would be happy to distribute that following the demonstration for everyone to have a copy of, because we do encourage you to share that out. There's another question here about calendar. Didn't really do much in calendar. Let me actually show you very quickly. The question was regarding, what does calendar look like actually? So this is Google Calendar, and as you can see, it is kind of what you would expect it to be. I'm able to view all the different calendars that I have. I can easily create a calendar just by simply clicking, and I can choose who can have access to it. I can make it a public-facing calendar. I can limit it to just a group of people or a team that I'm working on. Something that's kind of nice, if you pay attention to Saturday around noon, I can just say lunch with Tim Saturday at noon, and then automatically that populates. And going into that message here, as you can see, this is a really nice, this actually was a game changer for an organization I was working with, the fact that you can add resources. So if you have events, you need to reserve a digital camera, perhaps a conference room, or even something like a banner of that nature, you're able to actually reserve that, and then when I go to find a time, it'll show me the availability of all these different items. And of course, I can add people as well and view their calendars as well, and it looks like that Saturday everyone's available, which is great. but let's say we weren't available, I can actually click here on suggested times. It'll actually take me to other times that were available, and it'll automatically change that, and it'll send an invitation to the people that are involved and reserve those resources very seamlessly and easily. Okay, let me jump back over to the demonstration here. There was one more question for Tim here. Oh, it's kind of a fun one. It's what is your favorite Google Apps trick?
Wow, I'm learning new ones every day. It's kind of fun as well. So my favorite Google Apps trick. That's a good one. I think getting others to learn to share rather than attach has probably been one of the biggest things. So the sharing really does work well, and it's a total mindset change for people that you don't have to include and attach files to a message. You can just share the file to those that you want to. So that's been nice. I think one of the things that our end users have found is they probably have more control over their account now than they did in the Exchange world, where they used to have to work through me and my team to maybe share their calendar or share their account. And now a lot of that's within their control, and that's been pretty well received. I think that they have more control and more flexibility there.
That's great. Perfect answer. That's fantastic. I think my favorite Google Apps trick is very similar to you, Tim. I'm learning my new favorite Google Apps trick pretty much every day.
Yeah.
I'm really liking what I'm seeing with Drive, though. I think that's being able to add additional features such as third-party applications like Lucid Chart is one that I didn't even point out, which you can actually create an activity diagram and flowcharts directly from Drive and save and store it there. That type of functionality is just great because all it does is enhance the product, right?
Yeah.
So I really enjoy that.
Yeah, I would add one more, Jason, if I can. I think for me, what's been a real game changer is the labels as well. We've all used Outlook and other systems, and we got used to moving messages into folders. And I spent more time hunting through my folders, trying to find where I put a message rather than actually finding it. And so the labels and being able to apply multiple labels to a message, and then either searching based on that label, or just clicking on the label on the left side and going right to those messages. That's just really, really slick, and it works really, really well. So that's been a big game changer.
Oh, that's a great one. Good point. Travis, I should have asked you earlier, do you have a favorite Google Apps trick? Oh, might be on mute. That might be why. But either way, we are actually at the end of the session. Do really appreciate everyone joining on. As mentioned earlier, we are going to share with you the link once the video is processed, and we'll get it over to you. Do feel free to reach out to us if you have any questions after the fact. Really appreciate your time. I'm going to stop the recording, and again, thank you very much, and have a great day.